All right, perfect. So, how you doing? My name is Franklin Cruz. We're going over, I'm a real estate developer and true investor as well. We're going over concrete pours. Whenever you're ordering concrete, I'm sitting here with my main man, Daniel, which definitely has bigger biceps than me. It is what it is. No judgment. So whenever you're doing a concrete pour, there's a couple things you got to think about. Number one, what kind of concrete pour are you doing, right? Are you doing a foundational pour? Are you doing an additional pour? Are you doing a shed pour? What are you doing? Typically for a concrete pour, you also have to ask your architect if you have blueprints, specifically what kind of concrete do you want me to pour. Now here's a couple things to save you money as well. So what I have found is, number one, attempt to talk directly with the concrete company. So Cemex over here in Florida is basically the one that mixes it. So if you can have an account with them, that's huge. There's another concrete company called Carl's Building Material. They're here in Lakeland, and they do that as well. Is that still working? All right, good. And so what you're requesting is, one, you got to have a great GC. And so with that GC, he's going to say, hey, how many yards? You're going to ask him, how many yards do you need? Now, you never want to just trust the subcontractor who you're hiring to call in for concrete pour. The main reason why is they're going to make a rip off of that, and they should, because they have to do a lot of work. They have to figure out, what is the timing, what is the scheduling. But what I have found is it's better if you handle all of it, because you understand the bigger picture of the whole project, right? So here's, for example, I had a project that we're doing 2 foundational concrete pours at the same time. Now, mind me, this is only the 3rd ever, and I'm doing 2 at the same time. So what you need to do is, the very first thing that you're doing on any kind of concrete pour is, first you want to make sure that, hey, did you already get your pre-pour inspection done? Is everything framed out for the area that you're doing a concrete pour? So let's talk about foundations. So if we're talking about foundations, you're literally gonna, there's steps to this entire process. So step 1 is, what's your site? What's the site that you want to build, right? Step 2 is, did you already get a site plan done? And is it approved with the local municipalities? A site plan is basically a layout with that. First, you have to have a survey. You give that survey to your architect. Then the architect comes back and gives you a site plan saying, hey, we could fit this house here. Okay, make sense? So now you then bring that back to the surveyor company, because it's gonna have what they call elevations. So now you're gonna request from the survey company, hey, I need to get elevations done. I need it staked out for elevations. Because now you're like, okay, now I need to make sure that the area, the soil, is compacted to the elevations of where that foundation is gonna be. But you have to specifically ask for this. This is not on any kind of book that I've ever wrote. Like, you have to specifically go through these steps, right? Then when you go through that step of saying, hey, I got the elevations, this is exactly what I want, now you got to ask for what they call a soil compactual test. So a soil compactual test is from typically like a geotech engineering company or something like that. You need a soil compactual of at least 95%. So it's got to have, meaning the soil has to be compacted to a ratio of 95%. If not, you're not going to pass. Meaning you got to turn this in as well. So now that you have that complete, now what you're going to do is basically, now you're going to frame it. Once it's done and you got the soil compactual test passed, you have exactly it staked out. Now you're going to tell the foundation guys they have to frame out the area for the foundation, period. Now, what you can do, a little trick that I do, is I look at my blueprints and I map out everything I need to do for concrete. So I pour, everybody pours different. Some people pour foundation only. I don't personally like doing that. I want to frame out the whole house, meaning I'm going to frame out the driveway. I'm going to frame out the driveway apron. I'm going to frame out the sidewalks. I'm going to frame out the AC pad. I'm going to frame out everything that needs concrete, because I want to pour the whole damn thing that same day, period. Some people don't do that because they're like, oh, well, you want to wait until the very end. Oh, and sidewalks too. You want to do everything. You want to first do the foundation, and then you want to pour the rest at the end of the project. I personally don't like doing that, because I could care less. It's like, we're going to pressure wash everything and clean it at the end anyway. So I just want to get it over with so I don't have to think about the pour again. So that's me. So you got to choose which way do you want to play. Is it smarter for you to do foundation, or is it smarter for you to do foundation and then later on at the end, you pour your driveway aprons, your sidewalks, and everything else. So totally preference up to you. So once you have the approval that, hey, we passed our soil compactual test, they actually finished the foundation framing, right? So now after the foundation framing, what you're gonna actually be doing is, now you have to also call for a site inspection. So for the site inspection, this is all before the pour. So for the site inspection, typically you have to put what they call a silk sleeves on wherever the soil or wherever the sewer openings are in your street if you're in an infill area. So make sure that they don't want to run off of dirt, including you have to put a silk fence around your entire site. Both of these have to be inspected before your pour, right? Then after, yes, you're gonna frame out your foundation. Once that's framed out, then you do what they call a pre-pour inspection. They're gonna call you, you're gonna call in for a pre-pour inspection. That basically means that, hey, is everything up to par with the foundation? Or in a sense of the framing of the foundation. All right, I put it on pause for a second. Daniel had a great question. He's like, he's poured before, but never really got in detailed. And I truly haven't met too many people that has been really detailed about it either. The only reason why I did it is because I started seeing that if I don't get really detailed, then a lot of things start. People don't understand the big scope of the entire process, meaning from the investing side to the developing side to the sub side to the permitting side, and how it all comes together and how it all interlinks, because all of it does interlink. That's the catch. The only thing is you're the only one as a developer that knows how to interlink it all. But you do have to understand construction, the subs, how you're getting the materials over there, everything. You can't rely on the GC's gonna know everything, because the GC has a shitload of projects too. So nobody cares more about your project than you do, period. That's just the way it is. So when I found out, and I found this out the super hard way. So this cost me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of lessons. Some other people say losses, I just say lessons. Because I was like, this is never gonna happen again. So what I found was the power is really just having the micro knowledge. Because now you can't tell me what I don't, now I know every single micro step of the entire process. So you can't tell me, well, hey, you don't need the silk fencing. Yes, you do. The only thing is you're a subcontractor. You don't know the permitting process. You only know how to lay the foundation or pour or frame it out, but you don't understand the bigger picture. Meaning if I miss any kind of steps on this permitting aspect, if I miss any kind of steps dealing with the compactual test is wrong, then they could call up. And now the funny part is your compactual test is actually not an inspection for any municipalities. But if something's wrong with your concrete, guess what they're gonna ask for? A compactual test. And then you need that as well. And then you also need to make sure you have a termite inspection, that they're spraying for termites on the soil of your foundation. Because guess what they're gonna ask for? A termite certificate. It's interesting, but this is literally what happens. And you wouldn't even know these micro steps until you actually are in it. And sometimes it's too late. You know, it's like it's like you being at Daniel's a catcher who's here. So it's like an amazing catcher. So it's like you're doing catching, and then out of nowhere they're like, this left-handed pitcher comes up that throws 105 miles per hour. You're like, wait up, nobody even told me that. So like the first throw, you're just like, what just happened? Or they just saw this pitcher that throws knuckleballs at 80 miles per hour, and not even the catcher was getting nailed everywhere in his body because he just couldn't catch it. And the catcher's like, I kind of wish you guys would have told me that this guy was like this. It would have helped. I would have like wore thicker clothing, I guess. So anyway, so it's kind of like that in foundation, because like you're gonna be a catcher and it's knuckleballs, but they're 80 miles per hour. So if you know anything about baseball, like that's the worst thing that could happen to anybody, even a batter, because you don't know how it's gonna play out.
That's a good example.
Back to the concrete pour, so I can get to work, is All right, so now you call it in for your inspection. You put the silk fencing all the way around. You put the sleeves in your inlets. It's called, usually it's a 6-inch sleeve inlet, which is actually on the back of our property, those long black sleeves that you see. You want to have those prepared because now if you have any kind of drainage issues or runoffs of dirt, it actually doesn't get in your sewer systems and clogs everything up. This is only if you have infill. If you don't have infill, totally different. But you want to ask for a pre-build inspection by the building department. So if you have a local municipality, and obviously you have to pull permits, you always want to ask them, hey, what is your series of permits that I need to pull and inspections before we actually build? The other thing that is a big catch that a lot of people don't think about, and I didn't either, was when you have your surveyor go out, you want to ask the surveyor, hey, is there any easements that I'm not aware of? Then you want to double check with the building department because sometimes there's easements that are not properly labeled and the surveyor can't catch the easement. So there's utility easements, water line easements, and you have to call what they call 411. So if you call, I think it's 411 or 811, one of the two, and they're going to tell you where any kind of cable lines are and they mark it. That's a free service. But you have to make sure that you actually give the code. They're going to give you a code. You have to make sure that you keep that with you because in case you hit a damn line, a cable line, which costs a lot of damn money, and you don't have that code, you're liable. So you want to make sure, ask me how I know that. So it's like, it didn't happen to me, actually it happened to a friend of mine. So I was like, I'm never going to be that guy. And then utilities is the same thing. We actually had easements right next to our property. We didn't even know. We called the survey company missed it. But now we know, hey, you want to back it up with the building department. Hey, is there any easements that we don't know about? Little things that, again, if you don't know the micro steps, you can miss something. And remember, the subs don't know. Subs aren't going to ask. Subs aren't going to ask for, a pre-new build inspection. They're not going to say any of that stuff. So you have to make sure, like, you actually have a checklist of everything, which we do, of a checklist of every micro detail that you need, including on every new build site. Typically, you're going to need a porta potty there. So make sure that the entire time you have a porta potty. My other recommendation is, in the porta potty, make sure that you keep fresh baby wipes there for your guys. Don't just do the toilet paper. So if you have baby wipes, it's a lot more better because they could take what I call, outside showers basically with the baby wipes. And it's a lot easier on their body. Remember, anybody that's out there in the sun all day, you feel that stuff. So make sure that you have compassion for your guys as well. There's a lot more other steps. I'll go over it, but hopefully you got a lot out of these micro steps that I just went over. All right, bye.